Octabox and Paramount, silver reflector below, and Softbox behind. All right, in this 2-light setup, I am using a 3-foot Octabox centered on her face to create soft light in Paramount position. So I'm trying to reduce shadows. That's actually the goal of this shot. We're going for soft and glowing and high key. Now my second light, I wanted to have a completely white background that also wrapped around my subject. I wanted to be able to see a little bit of light on her jawline and the side of her face. Now, what we've done is I've created a do-it-yourself softbox or a scrim. And so I've used the curtain shears behind her with a light pulled far back so that it has time to spread out and wrap around her. And so that's going to create a pure white background with that beautiful wrapping light. And then I add a silver reflector below to add a little bit of pop to the catch lights, but also fill in the shadows. So the end goal of this shot is something that's joyful and high key and has a little bit of a pop to it. This is great for portraits of women, and you can also process it to make nice portraits of men. It just depends on kind of how you work with the image. So let me show you what it looks like, and then I will build it step by step so you can see how the image comes together. All right, perfect. Beautiful, love it. So I absolutely love the light on the side of her face, those beautiful highlights, because it's accentuating her beautiful jawline. And then I also love that sparkle of light that I get in her eye because I've created clamshell lighting. So let me build this for you step by step so you can see what we're working with. All right, so right now I just have my 3-foot Octabox in Paramount lighting position, nice and centered. And so if you look, right now I don't have a pure white background because there's nothing lighting from behind, but I have that main light up high enough that it's giving a little bit of sculpting to her face. So now I want that pure white background. I'm going to turn on the light from behind, which is my makeshift scrim. And now it's going to give me some of that light in the jaw. This is a beautiful lighting setup, and if you want a little more sculpting to the jawline and the cheekbones, you don't have to add the reflector, but in this case, that's the look I'm going for. So I'm going to bring this back to her. Beautiful. Great. So here are a couple considerations for you. First of all, I made a scrim or a softbox behind so that you don't have to have many different modifiers. But you can absolutely use a second softbox. And in fact, if I'm going to do this myself, if I'm not shooting head to toe, if I don't need a really big modifier, I will use a softbox. I would likely, for this setup, use a 3x4-foot softbox behind her head. It's a little bit easier to set up, a little bit easier to control, and I don't have quite as much spill of light around my space. So if you have multiple softboxes, you can do that. Or if you have one softbox and say a beauty dish, or one softbox and an umbrella with diffusion, you can also combine those. You could use the umbrella or beauty dish in the front and then the softbox behind. So it may make it a little bit easier for your setup if you do already have that gear. Also keep in mind the position of your reflector. If you want to fill in the shadows and make it really bright and glowy, you bring it up close. If you want it a little bit more subtle, you bring it down lower. And if you want everything to be a little softer, you could use white instead of silver. So this setup is you have one soft light source above centered for Paramount lighting, and then you put another light source behind. You could make your own softbox or use a softbox, but you want to keep it really, really close to the subject's head because that's what creates the wrap on the jawline. If that softbox or diffusion is further back, you're not going to get the wrap on the face. And then you can add a reflector depending on how much fill or sparkle you want to the eyes.